Rubio or Vance, Stephen A. Smith or Rahm Emanuel, or the governor of Maryland. It's going to be an interesting next presidential race. I'm going to focus on a few of the possible candidates and tell you where I'm leaning right now. Obviously, Vice President Vance is going to be someone of substantial consideration as a presidential candidate. In addition, and while it's weird because Vance and Rubio are working apparently well together right now, Secretary of State Rubio has demonstrated presidential qualities, but also very human qualities as well. He's shown his sense of humor. He's shown his ability to articulate policies to combat the media, but in a very polite way while also being very commanding. There really hasn't been a Democratic Party candidate who stood out so far. I just can't imagine Governor Newsom or Governor Pritzker advancing through the primary successfully and then being elected president. Newsom doesn't seem to have any substantial policy positions behind him, nor a track record in California that could support a presidential candidacy. For the first time in decades, California is losing people. He's failed to build a train after billions of dollars being allocated to that endeavor. The California tax and regulatory state has destroyed commerce and industry. It is not a record to run on. Governor Pritzker's Illinois has been no better. And despite the fact that I've recently moved back to Illinois and live in Chicagoland and love Chicagoland, I'm horrified by what both the state Democrats and the city of Chicago Democrats have done to the state of Illinois and the city of Chicago. If any Republican candidate is able to articulate the problems that Newsom has created in California and Pritzker has created in Illinois, it should not be a problem for them to succeed President Trump and win the presidency. I am intrigued by Governor Wes Moore in Maryland. He seems to be a more centrist candidate, a candidate that I think has formidable power to communicate. And so he's someone I think we need to be taking a serious look at. Will centrists like Stephen A. Smith and Rahm Emanuel come up with policies creatively to capture the imagination, or will they just be kind of a middling candidate attempting to peel away some of the more central-leaning independents and Democrat and Republican voters? It's possible, but it seems unlikely right now that they're going to have the kind of force of personality coupled with good policy positions that are going to motivate people to get out. It's more likely that a Newsom or Pritzker candidacy is going to at least have the far left electorate get out and vote. I mean, there are other candidate potentials out there on the Democratic side. The governor of Pennsylvania, maybe the governor of Michigan. We don't see a whole lot in the Senate that looks particularly forceful right now on the Democratic side of the ledger. Perhaps the Democrat governor of Kentucky may have a shot. I think it's going to be a battle on the Democratic side between 2 or 3 centrist Democrats and 2 or 3 far-left Democrats. What's going to be fascinating is that they're likely going to split a lot of the vote with respect to their center and left constituencies, and that's going to create a real dynamic of potentially having someone on the far left come out ahead. Turning back to the Republicans, I really believe that the 2 candidates that are the most powerful on the Republican side are Vance and Rubio. I think Vance is a little bit farther to the right than I think is ultimately going to be as successful for the Republicans, and that Rubio has that charisma, that sense of humor, and that intelligence. He's more polished than he was when he ran for president before. I think he's going to be potentially a formidable candidate. And while I want to see what Rubio's policies are going to look like on his own, and I would love to see him be more creative and centrist as well with respect to some of his policies, I think from a sheer personality perspective, Rubio has those qualities that are going to be very, very attractive. But here's the ironic thing and the funny thing. I actually believe that a Democrat candidate has the ability to foster more creative policies right now with respect to government intervention in the medical industry, with government intervention with respect to irrigating the West, with respect to being more liberal when it comes to drug policy and criminal policy. So I think that there are some Democratic candidates out there that if actually they're willing to take a look at some of my podcasts, I humbly submit, if they adopted a few of these policies, they could really capture the imagination, much like Trump has captured the imagination with some of his policies. No tax on tips. That type of policy would never have been thought of by Reagan Republicans. The tariff policies would be anathema to a lot of traditional Republican candidates. So what Trump has done is adopted some interesting policy positions, but the Democrats can do some interesting things on their own as well. My phone line is open if you want to talk some policies that the Democrats can get behind. It's going to be an interesting race. We'll obviously be seeing what happens in the coming months and certainly within the coming year with respect to how all that plays out.